Next up, kicking off the main card. I think some fights may have gotten switched up since we started recording, but we're going with the 4 fights left. Mackenzie Dern and Tecia Torres. Now, there's something about this fight that just stands out to me so much, and I think it's going to be my own brain's recency bias. And the reason I say that is because going into the Marina Rodriguez fight, I had so much faith in Mackenzie Dern's improved striking that I thought she'd make it more of a fight. But if you look at that fight very closely, not only is Marina Rodriguez oceans apart from Mackenzie Dern's, and if that was a grappler versus striker fight, I mean, man, did the striker just prove to be borderline, making her obsolete. Because you look at the way that she was able to defend takedowns after she picked up the timing, it was getting almost comical. She even laughed at one point. I didn't even watch this fight again because there was an unnerving aspect to it, but I love Marina Rodriguez so much as a contender that in that fight there was no emotional aspect to it at all. But I really believe that Mackenzie Dern's improved striking with what has looked to be a very good ground game would be something that stands out a lot. Now, why that pissed me off the most is not only did I go against my educated gut with the Marina Rodriguez, but that was an example of where you think something's going to happen, but you believe something else can happen, so much so that it becomes maybe the pick and the bet. And for me, I was so disappointed to see Mackenzie Dern revert back to, it was almost like 2 steps forward, 30 steps backwards. Her striking looked like it did 4 years ago. Jason Perillo's been putting in a lot of time with her. I mean, there's videos of her all over the internet, sparring with Chito Vera. Think about the level of looks that Mackenzie Dern is getting as a striker now. And to be honest, that version that we saw towards the later part of that fight, let's say the second half against Marina, it was a desperate fighter. It was a fighter that seemed to have lost a lot of the things that she had learned going into that one. And to be honest with you, coming off of a Nina Nunes submission win and then going into a fight against Marina Rodriguez, I think those are 2 very different things, right? Those are just 2 very different fights in general. And for me, that stood out from the gate. And then we talk about Tecia Torres, right? She had that long run of taking on elite strikers where I think she went 0-4. I think Zhang Weili was one. Marina Rodriguez was another. Don't worry, I'll find this. Sorry, guys. Joanna and Jessica Andrade. So when you look at those guys, when you look at those fights, I mean, not only have all of them except Marina, who has a chance probably very shortly to touch gold, but you can tell from that 2017 run that she had against, the Beck Rawlings, the Juliana Limas, and the Michelle Wattersons of the world, she started to hit the challengers, the title challengers, because from 2018 on, these 3, now 4, are basically in the title picture consistently. Before that, she lost to Rose Namajunas. Before that, Rose Namajunas, that's what I said, right? Before that, Carla Esparza on The Ultimate Fighter, which she ended up winning and then won the title before she lost it to Joanna. So I am so curious about the lines for this fight. I think there isn't a fight that I'm more interested in because there's just so much to go on historically and recently for both fighters. Because after Tecia went on that 0-4 run, she took a break. And after coming back in 2020, I mean, sure, it's Brianna Fortino, Sam Hughes, and Angela Hill, but she looked amazing against Sam Hughes. She dominated her. And then she went against Angela Hill and put on a great performance. So for me, Angela Hill is already now on the cusp of those title challengers. So in those 2-3 fights, Tecia's already gotten herself back there. So for me, I really am leaning Tecia Torres regardless of a line. And I'm going to put my whatever. I'll just bet friendly that I think this line's probably so close to a pick'em. But I am very, very curious as to how we can expect Mackenzie Dern to be a different fighter when that was what she showed against the fighter who, the size-wise, the length, and all of that was there. But Tecia Torres is an animal, and I think that her ability from the top game could be something where we just see her land ground and pounds, not get caught. She's very quick, and she can use her athleticism to just get out of those. She's very, small and tight, and that's where I feel like she's going to be able to avoid those dangerous areas with Mackenzie. And Mackenzie needs to be smart, right? She needs to use the striking to set up the ground groundwork. Don't get into these brawls with some of these fighters that have proven to be able to deal with some of the best in the world. I think Tecia Torres' boxing is really going to stand out, especially in close, if Mackenzie's not able to get this to the ground. So it's going to come down to Mackenzie's strength, durability, and how she looks in rounds 2 and 3, because I think Tecia Torres is going to box her up a little bit, and it all depends on where Mackenzie Dern wants to take the fight. If she stays standing, I think it's going to be a rough one. So let's go with the pick'em, because we know that Vegas is probably going to pin it there, because I don't think they know what to do here. But we are leaning Tecia Torres here. The version that we've seen, the historical precedents, and just, I think Mackenzie Dern is just extremely hyped. So when you saw those improvements after some of the things that she's put together, I think people got really excited. But unfortunately, the talent of opponent just is not comparable. Look at the 6 losses, man. Esparza, Namajunas, Andrade, Jędrzejczyk, Wei Li, and Marina. I'm sorry. It's Tecia Torres for us. And we're going to go with the pick'em, but in our minds, this should be a -150 to maybe a -180 line. And if I lose this, that's okay. But I am so confident Tecia Torres in this fight. And for some reason, if I change my mind, I will let you know. So let's check out the lines. Pick'em. This is so typical, right? This is what makes it cerebrally hard to pick a winner. Because when you look at a pick, I'm like, oh my God, they're so close. Oh my God, what do I do? But honestly, when you pick a spot and you're confident in it, the line doesn't matter. And for me, Tecia Torres in this spot, from what we've seen, I'm sorry. I think that the athleticism here and the boxing is just going to be enough for her to get the dub, whether it's a decision or not. So Tecia Torres, man, pick 'em. Could be a Super Saiyan pick. Let's wait to find out. On to the next fight.